the opening question I'm asking everybody is why your party. So why did you choose to run for the PPC?
Oh, I think this is one of the most important elections in Canadian history. And I notice, as a conservative, I notice that the Conservative Party of Canada, they moved to the center of the political scenario. And because of the lack of conservatives in my riding, I decided to run myself because I stand for conservative principles, values, traditional family, free market, free speech, and because of nobody else was running, I decided to run myself and represent the people of my riding. I live in my riding for 10 years already in Forest Grove, and I would like to represent people who believe and stand for freedom of speech, freedom of religion, less immigration. We are not against immigration. We are against mass immigration. We should establish numbers of reducing this number to 150,000 people per year instead of 300,000 or 400,000. I am an immigrant myself. I came to Canada 17 years ago, and I remember how good this country was with immigrants, and the immigration system used to work very well at that time. It was a very selective process, and we go for interviews face to face, English or French. You could choose the language you go, and in the People's Party of Canada, we're going to be focusing only on skilled immigrants. So this and we're going to be with less immigrants. We're going to be able to provide a better life, more employment for these immigrants, the new immigrants, instead of having lots of immigrants that are living in ghettos, not learning our language or integrating our society. And that's not the Canada I saw 17 years ago when I got here. We really need those immigrants, the economic, because they are coming to Canada for a new life, for prosperity, and if they prosper, Canada will prosper too. So instead of immigrants being a burden to Canada, immigrants should be happy here, be successful, and help our country's economy.
So you feel like the immigration system worked better when you came to Canada?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. It was much better 17 years ago, and we should go back to the way it was. And we don't want open borders or people claiming they are refugees and they are not. They are crossing the border illegally, especially in that Quebec area. We have these people, thousands of them, they claim they are refugees and they are running from the United States. I really don't know what they're running from. Violence or lack of jobs in the United States. So most of them are not refugees. They are just skipping the line of real refugees apply legally, or legal immigrants, they apply legally. And these people, these thousands of people crossing our borders illegally are just skipping the line for the people who apply legally to be part of our country. And this is not fair, and this is a wrong message Canada is sending to the world. So, you go to Canada, just jump the fence and get in. But that's not the way it was before, and I think we have to be more selective with the people we are bringing to our country.
How did you emigrate to Canada? Was it with a work visa, a student visa, or refugee status? How?
It was a skilled immigrant visa. I applied in Brazil. The process was kind of long. Maybe it was 8 months to 1 year to be ready. Then you go for interview, medical examinations, and then when you were approved, then you have a permanent resident status. So when I arrived here in Canada, I already came with my permanent resident status with my wife. So we went for through the front door of Canada. We didn't jump any fences, and I think everybody should do the same, because Canada welcomes everyone, all colors, religions, and any kind of immigrants. But let's do it the right way. Let's apply and use the law and the correct ways to come to this beautiful country.
What was it like for you growing up in Brazil? It says you grew up in a ranch.
Yeah, I'm proud of that. I grew up in a ranch in Brazil. My dad used to have a beef cattle ranch, and I was raised riding horses, working with the cattle. I started driving with 8 years old inside the farm, of course, inside the ranch, driving tractors or little trucks, and I'm really proud of being a countryside boy. And after that, when I was older, I went to high school and university in São Paulo. The city I was born is the biggest city in Brazil and one of the largest cities in the world.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times throughout your questionnaire, you mentioned that you're a hunter, you're pro guns. So what do you hunt? What's your favorite kind of hunting gun?
Yeah, I'm a hunter, a camper, and a fisherman. Usually I hunt white-tailed deer and mule deer, and I apply a few times for moose hunting, but I didn't get the draw. I wasn't selected by the draw, but I still keeping the faith and dreaming to one day be able to go moose hunting as well. And I'm a pro gun supporter and advocate, and for everybody here in Saskatchewan or in the west of Canada, especially in the rural areas, everybody likes guns for sports, for hunting, and it's part of our culture. And we are the only party not only repealing the Bill 71, but we are also replacing the Firearm Act. We want to give more respect to law-abiding gun owners, and because we're not respect at all. We're against handgun ban or any other kind of gun ban, because the problems are not on the guns. The problems are with the people who own the guns. And if we are abiding the law, there is no problem with us. We can have the guns as far as we're respecting the law. And most of the violence or anything that happens in the wrong side of guns are with guns that are they came from the United States, like smuggling, and they're illegal guns. And those, we have to control this access of guns we have here and not punish the law-abiding gun owners.
One of the biggest issues that's being noted in this election is the subject of climate change and whether we're facing a climate crisis. So you're very definitive in your questionnaire response that you don't feel we're facing a climate crisis. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think the climate change issue is just a hoax. The People's Party and a lot of people are starting to see that. Climate change, of course, exists. We're not denying the climate change. Climate change has been happening for millions and millions of years, and it's going to keep happening tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. Doesn't matter what we do, it's going to keep changing. People are blaming the carbon nowadays, that is the big villain, and they're forgetting to mention that the carbon dioxide, is essential for life. We all came for carbon or carbon base. So all living beings on Earth are made of carbon. So we cannot just try to ban carbon or diminish the use of carbon. As a matter of fact, in the last 150 million years, the carbon levels have been declining steadily, not rising. But these people, the activists, they just get a graphic with the last few years or last few hundred of years when carbon levels increase, but they are not putting in the chart the whole idea, like millions of years. So carbon came especially when the Earth was very warm, much hotter than now, from volcanoes activities. So the carbon comes from there, and since then this carbon hasn't been replaced. So we are the ones replacing this carbon that is essential for life. Everything that lives on our planet needs carbon to survive or to exist.
Okay. Lightening things up a little bit. You talk about Rush a lot. You're a big Geddy Lee fan.
Oh, that's a funny story. Since my teenage years, I'm a Rush fan. Geddy Lee, Neil Peart, and Alex Lifeson. Since a teenager, I'm a big fan. And in 2002, when I was moving to Canada, when I was approved for immigration, I said, oh, finally, I'm going to go and see a Rush concert, because probably they play every day in Canada. And by my surprise, when I got here, that was the first year they visited Brazil in 2002. So they play in Rio, and they had an album, it's called Rush in Rio. So I was really upset when they went to Brazil, and I was here to watch them. And I noticed a lot of Canadians, because Rush is Canadian, so a lot of Canadians don't give that special attention they deserve. They're great musicians, and they are much more famous in Europe or South America than here in Canada. Even in the United States, they are more famous and more popular than in Canada. And I think we should always support, not because they are Canadians only, but because they are a really good band. And a few years ago, on my birthday, my wife gave me a really good birthday present. It was a VIP access to Rush here in Saskatoon. So okay. I finally got to see their show, like on the third row, and I was really excited about it.
So what's your favorite Rush song then?
Oh, I like lots of songs on the Exit Stage Left album. I love Spirit of the Radio, Closer to the Heart. Mostly the old ones. I like Fly By Night, and you keep going. Time Stands Still. Lots of other songs that I love.
But you also have a little bit of a guilty pleasure on your playlist. Can you talk about your song that you have on there by Right Said Fred?
Oh yeah, the question you guys asked was about if a kind of song that I could be embarrassed telling people. Well, I'm a little embarrassed to tell, but one of the songs I really like is I'm Too Sexy.
Do you sing it a lot for your wife?
Yeah, sometimes we play jokes, and then I come with this song to her. It's fun.
Can you sing it for us?
Not really. I don't want to get more embarrassed than I am already.
In terms of your hidden talents, you say you're not that good of a cook, but you have a special dish.
Yeah, I'm terrible at cooking. My wife is fantastic. Maybe that's why I'm terrible. I never try to learn it. But there is one thing that is a hidden secret. I am really good doing instant noodles. There is no one that can beat me on that. And whenever you're around visiting my house, if my wife's not cooking, I can do the cooking. You're gonna love my noodles.
So what's your brand of choice for doing that? Is it Mr. Noodle or somebody else?
Oh, I like those Asian brands with lots of spices, and also I put my secret ingredients in it.
You gonna tell us the secret ingredient?
I can tell you just like one of them. I put chives, but the rest is secret.
Okay. So all right. So we won't pry too much. All right. So in terms of your favorite TV show, you say it's 2.5 Men. What about your favorite movie? What is your favorite movie? You listed a whole bunch, but if you had to pick one to go on a desert island with you, what would it be?
It's a very unfair question, because if I had to pick only one of the movies I like the best, would be Silence of the Lambs.
Why that one?
Well, it was so well made and keeps you tense all the time, and it's a really smart movie, and I love the actor, all the actors too. I love both of them, and I think they play an excellent role. And this film really marked my life. And like other movies, like Man on Fire, I really love it. Very touching movie.
Okay. Last question here. Right now, the PPC polling numbers are pretty far behind the leaders and the Liberals and the Conservatives, and there are some on the Conservative side who are concerned that votes for the PPC will split the right-wing vote and lead to another Liberal government. Are you more concerned if you would see a Conservative Party government or a Liberal government in power?
Well, first of all, I don't see it as a. First of all, the poll numbers, I don't think they reflect the reality, because most of polls, they not even include our party in their questions, most of them, and it's gives us a big disadvantage on these polls. So I try not to even see and look at the polls. But in regards to your question about vote splitting, I would like to tell the conservatives of my riding and Canada to don't worry about that. This is not happening. If there is any vote splitting happening, is because of the Conservative Party of Canada, not because of us conservatives. Because if you remember, a couple of years ago, we're still conservatives. Now Andrew Scheer moved the Conservative Party to the center and claiming they are pragmatic centrists. We as conservatives, we're staying in the same place. I'm staying in the right. And I'm gonna vote for my values, for my principles, and I don't think the Conservative Party represents me anymore. So let's suppose everybody who is a conservative votes to a party that is real conservative, which is the case of the People's Party. So there is no vote splitting. All conservatives should vote to the PPC, and whoever is like centrist or progressive should vote for the PPC, for the CPC, for the Conservative Party, because the conservatives are with us. The real conservatives are with us, and we have no doubt about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.